Okay, and this question is asking us for the sine. They're telling us that the sine of theta is -4/5 and wants us, and it's in quadrant 3, and find the other ones. Okay, so step number 1 is draw the triangle. It has to hit the x-axis. It hits the x-axis, not the y. Theta at the origin. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. So we're in the third quadrant, right? First, second, third, fourth. So we're in this quadrant. So I'm going to put the angle in this quadrant. Now, am I going to go this way to the y-axis or this way to the x? Well, it says hits the x-axis. So you've got to do that. You got to put anywhere you want in the third quadrant, but then you got to hit the x-axis, and that's where our right angle is. This is the x-axis, right? This is the y. We have to do this. Why do we have to hit the x-axis, not the y? Because 0 degrees started at the x-axis. When we made the unit circle to begin with, we made all of our sine cosine angles. We put 0 degrees on the x-axis. So our triangle has to hit the x-axis, not the y, to have the right values. And where do you put theta? You put theta right there at the origin. Don't put theta down here. That'll mess you up. Why? Again, because we started 0 degrees on the x-axis, and theta has to be right there. The triangle has to hit the x-axis. That'll make everything correct. So if that's the case, then step number 2, use SOHCAHTOA. So this is opposite of theta. This one here is the hypotenuse because it's across from the right angle. That means this side is adjacent. Okay, and then SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite of hypotenuse. So that means this is opposite, and this is hypotenuse. Opposite is -4. Hypotenuse is 5. So we're getting that. -4/5, opposite and hypotenuse. Okay, there's that 5 there. Okay, so then step number 3. We're going to find the third side by a squared plus b squared is c squared. Or in this case, I'll use x squared plus y squared is c squared. Same thing, whatever. This is x, this is y, because x is sideways, y is up and down. This is definitely c down here. Okay, so here we go. So x squared plus y squared is c squared. So x I don't know, so I'm trying to find the third side. Y is -4. And c is 5. Let me not confuse you with these little quadrant numbers. These are just what quadrant we're in. Okay, so there we go. So x squared plus 16 is 25. Let's finish solving for the x. And boom, and x squared is 9. And then root it. X is 3, and that's plus or minus 3. So x is right here. It's technically -3 because -3 or +3 squared is 9. Could be either one. How do I know it's -3? Because it's back and down. So -3, -4. Right, this is the x-axis. Positive numbers to the right, negative numbers to the left. Y-axis, positive numbers up, negative numbers down. So we know this is back 3 and down 4. Those are both negative. But really, if you'd like to just ignore all that, here's what can make it a lot easier is you can just say, look, I don't care about all that. I'm just gonna memorize the all students take calculus, right? All students take calculus. Remember how the signs go? All students take calculus. What does that mean? That tells you which functions are positive in which quadrants. All 6 trig functions are positive in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant, only sine is positive, and his upside down, which would be cosecant, are both positive. The other 4 trig functions are negative. In the third quadrant, only t, tangent, and his upside down, cotan, only those 2 are positive. The other 4 are all negative. And in the fourth quadrant, only c, cosine, and his upside down, secant, are positive. The other 4 are all negative. So where are we? We're in the third quadrant right here. So what's positive? Tangent's positive, and his upside down, cotan. So I can just come over here and go, tangent's going to be positive, Tangent's going to be positive. Cotan is going to be positive. The other four are going to be negative, negative, negative. I know it. The other four are negative. So this is going to be a positive answer. Positive answer. The other ones, negative, even sign is negative, right? So that you can just decide the signs right ahead of time just by looking at which quadrant you're in. All students take calculus. We're in the third quadrant. Only tangent and his upside down cotan are positive. The other four are negative. So the other ones are negative. Tan and cotan are the only ones that are positive. So you know the signs of the answers. Use that to your advantage. A lot of people mess up the signs, get everything else right. So that'll help you not mess up the signs. Now, how do we finish? Well, now just use SOHCAHTOA again. What's cosine right here? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So what's adjacent? Come back here. Adjacent over hypotenuse. -3/5. See, it's negative. Calculator will tell you that's -0.6. They want 1 decimal place. So tangent, what's tangent? We're going to do tangent next. Opposite over adjacent. Opposite is -4. Adjacent's -3. -4 over -3. Two negatives, sure enough, it comes out positive, 1.3. Secant. Now, what do you for secant, cosecant those? Well, just remember which ones they're upside downs of. Just go back in your notes if you're not sure. Here we go. This is from the notes. See how cosecant is upside down of sine, opposite over hypotenuse, hypotenuse over opposite. Cosecant's upside down. Secant is upside down of cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, hypotenuse over adjacent. Just flip those. So for cosecant, just flip sine. For secant, just flip cosine. So I'll start with this. Cosecant, flip sine. Cosecant, flip sine. Cosecant, flip sine. So I'll come down here to cosecant. I'm going to flip sine. Grab sine. -5/4. If you get in your calculator, you get -1.25, which rounds. You want 1 decimal. 1.3. And secant, you flip cosine. So let's do that. Cosine is this. You flip it, -5/3. -1.666, which rounds to be -1.7, 1 decimal place. And finally, cotan, that's easy. Cotan, that's the flip of tan. Grab tan, flip it. Going to be positive, 3/4, 0.75, round to 1 decimal, 0.8. And so there we go. We got them all. So how do we do it again? Step number 1, we draw the triangle. Make sure it hits the x-axis and theta's at the origin. So I went in the third quadrant because they told me third quadrant. And then I hit the x-axis and I put theta at the origin. Step 2, use SOHCAHTOA, meaning this is opposite hypotenuse adjacent. And sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this is opposite hypotenuse. I filled in opposite hypotenuse. Then I found the third side by the Pythagorean theorem, x squared plus y squared is c squared. Same as a squared plus b squared is c squared. Plugged in the 2 sides I had, the y and the c, -4 and 5. Solve for x, got x is 3. It's actually -3 because back, but it doesn't really matter. You can find all the signs by the all students take calculus. We're in the third quadrant, only tangent and cotan are positive. Only tan and cotan are positive. The other 4 are all negative. And then just get all the rest of them with the using SOHCAHTOA and remembering which ones are upside downs of which ones. And there we go.